to the entertainment Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, we're going to talk about the prospect Kenneth Murray, a prospect that I really like out of Oklahoma. I know a lot of my subscribers do as well. And this is now, I don't know, the third or fourth linebacker not named Isaiah Simmons that the New York Giants have been linked to. And maybe it's a smokescreen. We're going to have to wait and see how it all plays out. But like I said in my previous video, I think they're leaning tackle. And I think they're looking to trade down. If the Giants were to stay at 36... I don't see it. I don't think Murray would ever get there. I expect Murray to go between 15 and 20 in this year's draft. The only way they'd be able to get him is if they were able to trade down. And if they were able to get the Raiders picks, for example, or the Jaguars picks at 9 and 20 and 12 and 19, both of those scenarios, like I've expressed several times, would be, an option for the New York Giants if they wanted a player like Caleb Von Jason or Kenneth Murray. Kenneth Murray, most people think, is the second best middle linebacker in this year's draft class, behind, of course, Isaiah Simmons. Very athletic player. No, he doesn't run a 4.39, but very athletic player, great side-to-side quickness, and I think a lot of Giants fans would be excited. If you were able to get 12 and 19 and end up with, say, Wirfs and Kenneth Murray in your first two picks and still have the ability to take a center or a wide receiver, or whatever it may be, at 36, I think that's the dream scenario. The same for 9 and 20. And yeah, there's no doubt about it. He would definitely be our most athletic linebacker and would be a welcomed addition to this New York Giants defense. But I kind of wanted to get into the quote. I also wanted to jump into a quick breakdown of Kenneth Murray and what he could potentially provide for the New York Giants. I think another thing I want to say about him, I think he could bring some versatility. I think he's definitely capable of playing on both the inside and outside in terms of the linebacker position. I think he definitely possesses the speed necessary in order to do both. But there's Murray. Here is the tweet that came out from Aaron Wilson that was later posted by Giants Wire. Oklahoma linebacker Kenneth Murray had video conferences, or is going to have video conferences. I'm not 100% sure if he's going to or has had video conferences with the Eagles, Giants, Texans, Ravens, Cowboys, Falcons, Jets, and Cardinals. So, of course, the Giants are among those teams that are interested in bringing him in. Of those teams that they listed, I would say the Falcons are very much in play. The Ravens, if he ever fell to 28, I think are definitely going to take him if he's there, either him or Patrick Queen if they're there. I don't see the Cowboys taking him. I think they have too many other pressing needs. I could be wrong. The Texans could be in play. The Giants could definitely be in play as well, but he will not be there at 36. The only way I could see the Giants getting Kenneth Murray, like I said, would either be to trade down or to trade up. At 36, if you want to trade up, you could certainly try to get back into the top 20 and get Murray. Now, the problem with that is we don't pick until 99. And if you're giving up more draft assets, yeah, we'd still have more draft picks, but they'd all be at the back end of the draft. So I personally am not looking to trade up in this year's draft. If anything, I want to try to accrue more early round draft picks. But he makes a lot of sense if you were able to get a pick in the middle of the draft. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Next thing I want to pull up for you guys was his statistics while at Oklahoma. Played there for 3 years. His sophomore year, he really came on where he had 155 combined tackles, 4.5 sacks. And like I said, when you watch this guy in film, very impressive all-around linebacker. Had 4 sacks this year, his junior season, well playing for Oklahoma. And that's a school that's generally known for offense, but this guy definitely was the standout player on their defense last year, which is why he's going to be going early in this year's draft. In terms of his height and weight, stands at 6'2", 241 pounds, so identical to the last prospect we talked about yesterday that the Giants have shown interest in Logan Wilson. He was the exact same measurement, 6'2", 241, the difference being Murray's more athletic. I think Wilson ran a 4.63, Murray ran a 4.52 at the combine, 21 on the bench, 38 on the vert, 129 on the broad jump. Certainly very impressive numbers for a middle linebacker prospect. Very impressive indeed. Next thing we're going to pull up for you guys are his strengths and weaknesses according to NFL.com at the linebacker position. The strengths, playmaking speed to mark up a stat sheet. Very decisive and willing to take chances. Runs and moves like a safety in space. Fires into gaps and can put offenses behind the change. Averaged nearly 15 tackles for loss over the last 2 years. Can make all the tackles if kept clean. Weaves and rolls downhill to close the distance on running backs. Ridiculous range from sideline to sideline. Instant burst to the ball from a standstill. Scrape speed to stay square to the line of scrimmage. Can spy blitz or rush the edge on passing downs. In terms of his weaknesses, needs to temper urgency with additional patience. Misdirected out of position multiple times by same play against Kansas State. So right off the bat, to me, those first two weaknesses, those are coachable. Those aren't physical limitations. Instinct and fit recognition are spotty as an inside linebacker. Desire to make plays clouds judgment on angles. Must improve strength and hand usage for take-on duties. Can be erased from gaps by a square block. Needs to play with better balance and control as an open field tackler. Hard flows turn to overflows. So overall, from what I gather, needs to be coached up a little bit more. Definitely needs to get more technically sound in certain aspects. Maybe needs to put on a little more strength. But like you've seen with a lot of these prospects, that's not uncommon. At the end of the day, Kenneth Murray is pretty much the consensus number 2 middle linebacker in this year's draft class. And it's a position that Giants fans obviously want. Isaiah Simmons is a guy that's very popular with our fan base right now because he could do a lot of things. Now, is this guy Isaiah Simmons? No, he's not as versatile. And like I said, Simmons is a supreme athlete. Murray's a very good one. But he would definitely be a very welcome addition to our defense. Like I said earlier, the only way I see this getting done is if we were able to trade down with a team like the Jaguars or the Raiders, or maybe even trade down to the middle of the draft with a team like the Falcons, who have been rumored to want to move up to get a defensive player. But in that instance, you wouldn't get your offensive tackle in the first round, but maybe they could look at it like at 16 we could get Murray. Then we get an additional first-round pick next year, and we still have our second-round pick where we could take a tackle or a center or something like that. So if we were to trade down, I think Murray's very much in play at number 4 and 36 if we stand pat. Don't expect it. But from the sounds of it, the Giants are very realistically considering trading out of that number 4 spot. So Murray could potentially be on the radar. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.